Can I talk to you for a minute? Because I feel like somebody watching this right now is on the verge of giving up. And I need you to hear me when I say, don't you dare quit. Not today. Not on this. You prayed for this. You got on your knees. Maybe you cried about it. Maybe you fasted. Maybe you believed God with everything in you. And He gave you a plan. He gave you a vision. He opened a door. So what happened? Why are you standing at the edge of the very thing you prayed for and thinking about walking away? Today we are talking about what it means to stick to the plan God gave you, the plan that still has your name on it, the plan that still works, even when you feel like it doesn't. Here's what nobody tells you when you start walking in faith. They tell you to pray. They tell you to believe. They tell you to trust God. But they don't always tell you what happens next. And what happens next is obstacles. The job gets harder before it gets easier. The relationship hits a rough patch right when you thought healing was coming. The finances get tighter right when you were expecting the breakthrough. The door you thought was opening seems to close again. And in those moments, if you're being real with yourself, doubt starts to whisper, maybe this wasn't God's plan after all. Maybe I heard wrong. Maybe I'm not the right person for this. Doubt is not a sign that you heard God wrong. Doubt is a sign that the enemy knows what's on the other side of your obedience. The obstacle is not proof that God abandoned the plan. The obstacle is proof that you are right in the middle of it. I want to take you to Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. And I need you to really hear this, not just as a familiar verse, but as a living, breathing word for whatever you are facing right now. Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." Now, do you see what He said? He said a mustard seed. Do you know how small a mustard seed is? We're talking about something the size of a pinhead, something you could lose in the palm of your hand, something so small most people wouldn't even notice it. And Jesus said that tiny, almost invisible thing is enough. That little bit of faith you have left, the kind that's hanging on by a thread, the kind that says, "I don't understand, but God, I still trust you," that is a mustard seed. And He said that is enough to move your mountain. You don't need more faith. You need to use the faith you already have. The mountain is not the problem. The obstacle in front of you is not the problem. The question Jesus is asking you today is, do you still believe? Do you still trust the plan? Because if you do, even just a little, that mountain has to move. But here's where I want to get real practical with you, because faith without action is dead. The Bible tells us that in James 2, you can believe all day long, but consistency is how your faith shows up in the natural world. Sticking to the plan doesn't mean everything goes smoothly. It means you show up anyway. You do the work on the days you don't feel like it. You take the next step even when you can't see where the path is going. You stay faithful to what God told you, even when the evidence around you says something different. Think about a seed. You plant that seed in the ground, and for days, sometimes weeks, nothing happens. The ground looks exactly the same. No sprout, no sign of life, nothing. But underneath the surface, that seed is doing everything it needs to do to break through. It doesn't stop growing just because you can't see it yet. Your breakthrough is growing underground. Stay consistent. Don't dig it up. That is what it looks like to stick to the plan. You keep watering it. You keep praying. You keep showing up. You keep doing what God told you to do, even when it looks like nothing is happening. Because something is happening. You just can't see it yet. Consistency is an act of worship. When you keep going in the face of obstacles, you are telling God, "I trust you more than I trust what I see." And that is the kind of faith that moves mountains. I want you to notice something in Matthew 17:20. Jesus didn't say pray about the mountain. He didn't say feel bad about the mountain. He didn't say be patient with the mountain. He said speak to it. Say to this mountain, move. There is an instruction embedded in that scripture. You are supposed to open your mouth and address the obstacle in front of you. You are supposed to declare your authority over it. So what is your mountain right now? What is the thing that keeps standing between you and the plan God gave you? Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's a financial wall. Maybe it's a health challenge. Maybe it's people who don't believe in you. Maybe it's your own past, your own mistakes, your own voice telling you that you don't deserve what God promised. Whatever your mountain is, Ishes, it has a name, and today you're going to speak to it. I want you to say this out loud right now. Say, "This obstacle is not bigger than my faith. This mountain has to move. I am sticking to the plan that God gave me, and nothing is going to stop it." Go ahead, say it again, because your words carry weight. Your declarations carry the authority of heaven behind them when they are rooted in faith. You are not talking to air, you are speaking to spiritual forces, and they have to respond to faith. Now, I want to be honest with you because I believe in keeping it real on this channel. Sticking to the plan is not always going to feel good. There will be days when everything in you wants to walk away. There will be nights when you question everything. And that is okay. Faith is not the absence of struggle. Faith is trusting God in the struggle, and when you feel like giving up, that is not the moment to quit. That is the moment to pray harder. That is the moment to dig into the Word. That is the moment to call your prayer partner, put on some worship music, and remind your soul who is in charge of this plan. The moment you feel like quitting is almost always the moment before the breakthrough. Think about Joseph in the Bible. God gave him a dream, a real God-breathed vision for his future. And what happened next? His brothers threw him in a pit. He was sold into slavery. He was falsely accused. He was thrown in prison. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. But guess what never changed? The plan. God's plan for Joseph never changed. And every single obstacle, every pit, every prison, every setback, was actually moving Joseph closer to the fulfillment of that dream. Not further away, closer. That is your story too. Every obstacle you face is not a detour from the plan, it is part of the plan. God is using the hard moments to build you into the person who is ready for what He promised. So I want to leave you with this. You prayed for this. God gave it to you. And He doesn't take back His plans. Stick to it. Stay consistent. Speak to the mountain. And watch what God does next.